Hi, Travis with Splunk here. Working on a new search to help me build a visualization for a new visualization in 10.4 of Splunk called Network Graph. I don't remember exactly which AI I was using. I'm still curious how we can use these tools. And I was using a web-based one. I don't remember if it was Google, the AI, Gemini, or if it was ChatGPT. But I had it go out there and give it some parameters and build me a search. Then I thought, why am I not using my local LLM and the Splunk MCP tools to do this? And it's just habit. So I've got to, break that habit. But I took that search and I'm like, wait a minute. What if I pump that into my, I've got Claude Code opened up. I just went to that one first. I'm still going back and forth between Claude Code and Open Code, which one I like better. And, that'll come with time. But I took that and put it into Claude Code. I had the Gemini 412B still loaded on my local LLM, and I ran here, talking about it. Let me jump over to that screen. And I basically ran can you look at this SPL and break down what it's doing? Because you may get an, SPL, Splunk Processing Language, and not understand what it's really doing. You're new to Splunk, maybe, and you're trying to learn more. I mean, have the robot help you. And that's the advantage and if you followed my other video and got Claude Code using the Splunk MCP server or open code or whatever flavor of bot you want to use, I'll just call it that. Um, have the bot go in there and kind of look at what's going on and explain to you what's going on. And I was curious what the output would be. So I had it go in there and say, hey, tell me what's going on here. And this is where I like kind of playing in the either Claude or the AI stuff here, because I can go do stuff and then just kind of scroll back through and show you what I was doing. But it explains this is an SPL. It calls it Search Processing Language. I call it Splunk, whatever you want to call it. But it breaks it down. This is looking at this is doing this. I have a lookup sheet that's formatting and helping me understand. I don't want to know if it's just 192, 168, 1, whatever. I need a name with it because that's how I can identify something a lot easier. And then the evals, formatting friendly names, going in there and doing an eval. And I kind of wanted zones of either internet or internal. So then it does, that's what it's kind of breaking down. What that search was doing is creating those zones. And then it goes into the stats and breaks down the stats and even other evals that are happening. And this is cool. This is a good way to, and of course, as always, validate, go out to our documentation and make sure what it's telling you is accurate. But this is, well, that part right there, I'm going to assume is actually grabbing a hold of the Splunk MCP server because I told it to break down what it is doing. I'd have to go back and verify that. But why I say that, because if I scroll down here and I say, do you see where I can improve that search using the Splunk MCP tools? So I can go to the very bottom. You know what? I'll do that right now. Let me scroll all the way down. And if I do a slash, just to show you MCP, you can see I have the Splunk MCP tools loaded. If I hit enter and view tools, it gives me the list of tools, and this is all bundled in with the Splunk MCP server. I'm hoping that our product team, when they deploy these things out, I mean, they're following best practices. This should be the standard for how people should be using Splunk and to get questions on how to, explain the SPL, generate the SPL, and ask SPL to optimize it. I'm going to go and I'm going to hit escape again. And one more time, go back to this screen here. And I'm going to scroll back all the way up because you can see I had a long conversation. know if I really had a long conversation, but I had a conversation. And we are going to go find, because I just went right past it. You see where I can improve this. So it says, the bot says, yes, you can use Splunk MCP tools. So it didn't actually go look at the SPL, the search, the query, whatever you want to call it. It just says, yeah, you can use the tools, man. Go and have it look at the, here's what you can do. Here are the 3 ways you can improve it using these tools. And you can use it, SAI optimize SPL, SAI generate SPL, and SAI ask Splunk questions. And it gives you what those tools are doing. That's great. Not really the question I asked, but maybe it's the answer I needed. Because then my next question, because I'm, learning what is available with this tool set. What is the best way for me to invoke those tools? Do I just say SAI, optimize SPL, look at this SPL? I'm asking the bot, what's the best way for me to communicate with you? And it came back with, usually you don't have to just type in that tool name. Kind of leading to me that you could, but it's saying you don't have to because it knows the tools are there, which that is very cool. And instead, I can just type out, natural language, optimize, and it says right there, simply say optimize the SPL for better performance or make this search more efficient. I could generate new logic, get advice. These are things I am definitely going to be working with and playing with the more I get into this. And then, so I decided to give it another go and basically typed in optimize this SPL for better performance. Because the SPL there's a lot going on. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 6 evals. That's all going to take time. That's all going to do things. Is there a better way of doing this? Because I've been using Splunk for a long time, but I'm not like the best. There's a lot better people out here that can get stuff done and be more efficient at it. I'm just very persistent, and I will find a way to make it work, even though sometimes it may not be best practice or the best way, and there's a better way of doing it. And that's why you go out there and you find other people and you ask questions and never stop learning. So here I pumped in the original search that I got from another AI that built it and told my local LLM to use my Splunk MCP server that I got from Splunk base and installed, and got videos on how I got that up and running. And it goes through and gives me an explanation what's going on. Here's the original query as well, structured, but it processes every single log entry through multiple redundant passes. And that's what I was talking about with all those different evals. Does it work? Yes. Is it the most efficient? Actually, no. And I will show you that because I did run the query, compare the two, and I could see a visual difference. Now, the optimized query, it does pump that out. So, with any query that I get, of course, I need to go and make sure it works. So before I get all too excited. And you can see right now that it does look at my index where the Netflow data lives. I first do that lookup on those IP addresses so I can create that new field for my host. And I look at both, and I'm trying to make a graph, network graph, to show both bi-directional traffic. I'm curious if I can do that. I think I can. And I'm going to show you how I use this search in another video, because I want to do a video just on that network graph search and what I found about it. Anyway, enough of that. Do this search and how the bot, Claude Code, AI, whatever you want to call it, has helped me optimize it, because I copied this and even goes and explains why removed redundant logic passes, simplified the conditions, and cleaned up string. And so we will go check this out. Let me jump over to Splunk Web. Now, this is the original search that was built, and I had ran it for the last 4 hours. Hopefully it didn't, while I was recording this video, didn't lose the job management stuff. But when I ran this search, it did come back with queries. You can see queries with events, 29, 293,378. I don't think it see anything on here. That's right. It doesn't have it here, how long it took. But if I go to this other tab, here's the new search. One obvious thing is how much smaller this new search is. A little bit easier to read and figure out what's going on. But it came back with almost identical results. I mean, the time's going to be you can tell that I ran them just like a minute apart. Like that one was at, 5:43. And then it started at 5:43, and this one starts at 5:44. So a minute apart. So it's not going to be the exact same numbers, but still, just a few hundred. That ain't going to cause what I see as a almost 4-second difference here. Yeah, 4-second difference. So, I mean, not a huge difference between running over the last 4 hours, you may say, but still a difference. It did clean up the SPL, and you can come in here and I can scroll over here and click on this one here. I'll open this one up and you can see the search that did ran. There's the lookup at the beginning with the 2 evals. And if you really want to, I could go and inspect the job and really look at it. The other thing, it did use less, size. So instead of, 352, we only have 354. There's actually more events that came across when I ran the newer search compared to the old one. So the old one, less events, but used more size, more space than the new search. So is it a huge difference when you get up to, if you got to do something for the last 24 hours, last 7 days? That can make a huge difference. Here is where I was testing it before the video, where I did run those searches, and you can even see it was 1 second, I think, was a difference. Yeah. Let me just click on this and validate before I say that. Yeah, here is, I clicked on, make sure I clicked on the right one. Yeah, this is the old one that took, 6 seconds. And then this the new one? Yeah, this was the new one. And this was a search that ran over 60 minutes when I did run this search, which I could open up, go into open and search and show you that. But this is a 60-second search, or 60-minute search. But the one thing about that is, like here, let's look at this one. How long was this one? So this is the old one. Let me open that up and search. And unknown, yeah, I waited too long. I was gonna go see if this was last 4 hours. It might have been, or if it was actually with that many events. Huh, that's interesting because this has got 94. This one's got 95. This one's got 84. Yeah, I wish I would have known or had where I could go check and inspect job. Nope. Waited too long. Anyway, I'll just go on because I was going to make a point of if I was working with the old search and the new search, and this one took 9 seconds to run, and then this one at 4 hours took 9 seconds to run. I mean, that's a savings there. I mean, that's a huge difference. But until I could have confirmed that, I mean, the size coming back, I'm going to say this was a 60-minute search. That's what I probably was doing. I might have ran one of these from the dashboard when I was, looking at it here. That's probably what it did. But either way, 1 second difference on a 60-minute search, 4 seconds difference on a 4-hour search. I can go run it for 24 hours and see how much of a difference is. Or better yet, you can grab the search. I can I can actually, if you want, I can put this in the description below, or you can just see it here on my screen. Back on the screen here. If you want this search, maybe I'll get this up to Go Splunk. If you haven't seen Go Splunk, definitely check that out. Friend over there takes care of it. Awesome dude. But maybe I'll put this search out there so it's easier to find and easier to get. With that, I'm going to start working on the next video, which is how did I build this? How did I build this network graph? What is network graph? You haven't heard of it. That's because it's new in Splunk 10.4. And I wanted to figure it out because I have been working on network data and how to build a topology, and we're getting closer. Splunk is getting closer of giving me something that looks nicer. All right. Happy splunking, and see you on the next video.